Can you hold, sir? I was calling. There's an accident. Train hit a car over there on the railroad tracks between Canton and Lots Road.
A train hit a car?
Yes.
Lots Road and what?
The railroad tracks at Lots between Van Born and Michigan.
Yeah, the train, let's go north, right at the Valhalla station. Past Lakeview just exploded.
The train exploded?
Yes, the front car just exploded. People are jumping out of the train. It's in front of, right past Valhalla crossing over there.
Trains. They've been heavy machines even since their debut in the 1800s. Trains always had the potential to kill someone, whether from derailments or collisions with other trains. However, when the car was introduced in the 1900s, train fatalities drastically increased to 1 in 4 people dying from such, not by derailments or collisions, but by people getting hit by trains. In this awareness episode, real-life examples will be used for educational purposes that might just save your life on the road. While highway fatalities have recently dwarfed the number of train vehicle accidents, the danger is still up there today with 600 deaths each year. As of today, there are 3 kinds of railroad crossings. Gated crossings with lights and bells, used for heavy traffic flow. Moderate traffic roads have railroad crossings with only lights and bells, and lack a gate. Then, there's the most dangerous crossing type, the unprotected crossing. A railroad crossing that has no lights, rarely a bell, and lacks a gate. The latter should be taken with extreme caution, but all 3 have traffic accidents, with trains occurring. Why? Well, just ask the people of Canton Township. July 9th, 2009. Amtrak's Wolverine was making a trip from Detroit to Chicago. The Wolverine is one of Amtrak's higher speed lines called Amtrak Midwest. Trains are well known for going up to 110 miles per hour on certain sections of the line. 20 miles from Detroit, a railroad crossing has been activated for the train's arrival. While one car stops for the train at the crossing, another zooms by a camera, and the train passes. But what happened to the car that zoomed by? Well, with an onboard camera being on the train, this shows us what happened.
I was calling. There's an accident. Train hit a car over there on the railroad tracks between Canton and Lots Road.
A train hit a car?
Yes.
Lots Road and what?
The railroad tracks at Lots between Van Born and Michigan.
Between Van Born and Michigan?
Yeah.
South? Do you know if anybody's hurt, and when did this happen?
I don't know. There was some guys on a bicycle standing there looking, and I thought I'd better get to a phone and call them.
Is that another one for the same thing?
Pardon me?
Hang on 1 second. That's ours, right? Is 42 in the north again? Adam 42, and we'll get you more units. Got 2 reports of a train hit a car down south at Van Born, Hannon, Lots area.
5. That's the number of people that were killed instantly when the train struck the car at 67 miles per hour. 19-year-old Dan Broughton had sped around the gates to try and beat the train, taking his life along with his friends 17-year-old Eddie Gross, 19-year-old Sean Harris, 21-year-old Terrace Harris, and 14-year-old Jessica Sadler. Turns out Broughton had a suspended license for driving without it, speeding, and not stopping at a stop sign. His reckless driving only influenced him to try and race the train, led by P-42 DC-128, whose locomotive class weighs 134 tons, paired against Broughton's 1.5-ton Ford Fusion, and it's a 3:268 weight ratio for both vehicles. It's blamed on why Broughton tried racing the train. It's to save time. Trains are seen as an inconvenience to drivers compared to rail buffs like me. We usually see trains as an importance to everyday lives. There's a risk-reward game to trying to beat a train. You save a few minutes if you win, but if you lose, you're dead. Sometimes, however, you might also take others out with you, as seen in New York. February 3rd, 2015. The day had been smooth, and Metro North Train 659 was making its journey between Wasaik and New York City, carrying at least 650 passengers to take them home. 8 55-ton Bombardier M7s make up the train, which was rushing through the night on time. Over in Valhalla, however, there was trouble. A 2011 Mercedes-Benz ML350 SUV was stuck on the tracks, and 49-year-old Ellen Brody, the driver, was trying to get it off. She seemed like she wasn't in a rush to try and get it off the tracks, but little did she know that train 659 was going at 51 miles per hour and bearing down on the car. Then, it happened. The multiple units set slammed into the SUV. The collision caused the electrified third rail to puncture the fuel tank of the SUV and set the lead rail car ablaze. When the fire was put out, 6 people weren't found alive. The driver was one of those fatalities, being killed instantly, along with 5 passengers of the first car of the train. In the end, 5 years later, the leading rail cars of Train 659 were sent away for scrap. What can we learn from this wreck? Well, for one thing, don't get stuck. That means don't change gears when you're crossing a railroad track. And secondly, if you do get stuck, abandon your car and alert the railroad by calling the number on the blue sign on the railroad crossing and tell them the exact information. If there isn't a blue sign, call 911 or get someone else to call for you. Now, some lines have 2 or more tracks. So what if the gates are down? There's no train coming, right? Well, tell that to 55-year-old Louis Pays. Hayes was waiting for a freight train to pass a railroad crossing he was waiting at in Lake Worth, Florida. When the last car left on the crossing, He thought there was only one train and drove his 1999 Honda Civic around the gates, only to be hit by an oncoming bright light train doing 80 miles an hour. Miraculously, Hayes survived the crash that split his car in half, although he did have incapacitating injuries from the accident. Hayes' first mistake was driving around the gates legally. The other mistake is not waiting for his second train. He never saw it because his view is blocked by the freight train, and now he has to live with the consequences of his mistake. These 3 accidents may have been examples, but they are still real accidents. Not to mention that they are not the only accidents that have taken lives or injured people. Countless others have happened with their own catastrophic events, like a wreck in 2003 over in Burbank, California, where a commuter train slammed into a car and derailed, killing 2. Not to mention that cars aren't the only road vehicles that are threatened by trains. Semi-trucks, 18-wheelers, even school buses are vulnerable with trains. Train accidents also happen all over the world involving cars. Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, Australia, Poland, India, Russia, even on advanced railroad lines like France and Japan. Here's what we can learn from these experiences. Never drive around the gates. It's illegal, and you'll risk the lives of you and any passenger with you. Don't try racing a train to the crossing. Unlike blackjack, if you tie, you lose. If you get stuck, get out and away from the vehicle. You don't need that old jalopy anyway. Don't try to wave a train down to try and save it. A freight train heading at 55 miles per hour can take over a mile to stop. If there's more than one track, wait until the gates go up. That second train could be hiding, and your first look at it may be your last. At night, slow down until you're at least 50 feet away from the train. A lot of drivers hit trains due to overdriving their headlights. People all over the world are killed from railroad crossing accidents every 90 minutes, according to the National Transportation Safety Board and the Federal Railroad Administration. However, in the end, the choice is yours. Will you stop and yield to the train, or are you going to play Russian roulette with a 100-ton vehicle that can and will turn your vehicle into a death trap? Maybe, just maybe, this one organization might help you make your mind. Operation Lifesaver is a company formed in 1972 in order to reduce these wrecks involving trains and cars from happening. Cooperating with the highway patrols of states like California, South Carolina, Indiana, Virginia, and even in other countries like Canada, Operation Lifesaver informs the public on railroad safety. This video is also trying to promote the same causes. It shows you that if you were to ignore the warnings, lives will always be lost.